All right, Mena fans, welcome back to Minifandom. I just thought I'd jump on. I'm recording this live. So, for those listening on the podcast, I'm recording this live on Twitter and YouTube. Wow, that sounds a bit weird. We're going to take these headphones out. Um, yes, hi everybody. Just not recording another Minifandom till Saturday night Eastern time. And there's so much on my mind. I just thought I'd do a quick solo show. And I'm supposed to be recording with Mick on Saturday night. So, that's only at best a 50-50 chance of going ahead. So I do hope Mick turns up. But yeah, look, a lot to react to. My blocking by the show and Kirk on Twitter. Also, the KMS Reloaded guy, Steve Snell, has set the Miniverse on fire. And this week, my nemesis returns. Unbelievably, Steve Robinson returns to the show. So it's a huge week. So much to talk about. If you want to ask questions, you have to go in onto YouTube, and I just tweeted out the link, and you can ask questions there. Here we go. Bobby Fitz, put me on this goddamn show sometime. Yeah, Bobby, you're always welcome. Always welcome on Minifandom. I haven't ignored you on purpose. Just too busy wheeling through great talent like Mike Montante and Beyond Average Mick. But let's start with my blocking from the last Minifandom as a result of the last Minifandom. So, wow. So I recorded a great episode with Mike Montante as usual. He was racist, but he was funny. He was amusing. So we had a really good time. I thought my criticisms of the show were minor, very mild. They weren't particularly scathing. I'm such a huge fan of the show. As we say on Minifandom every week, the show has never been better, and I stand by that. So I don't really understand what was going on with Kirk and the show account blocking me. So Kirk mentioned that he skimmed through Minifandom, which I don't think is true. I think he listened to most of it, but maybe he missed the context of my criticisms. So I guess I need to. It's my fault. I accept it. I obviously wasn't clear enough in my delivery. I wasn't clear enough in providing context for what I think is, feedback for the show, and basically, so I guess I'll try and do it again. So I guess what I should have said is the show's never been better. It's an amazing show. My comments were only very, very minor, very minuscule, like mini manners. All I was saying was that sometimes recently it's felt like Kirk hasn't gone in with a lot of topics to talk about, and he's relying on Cullinane and Michael, whoever his second chair is, to give him stories to talk about. And look, I know that's part of Cullinane's job, and I guess I didn't make it clear that I just sort of felt that Kirk was coasting a bit sometimes, but not like he has no ideas and the show sucks. I just felt there was a few shows recently where after about 20 minutes, it was just Kirk saying, "Okay, Dave, what have you got?" And that was it. Kirk didn't have much else himself. But that's not me taking away from Kirk's genius. Kirk is the greatest. And that's like the show is still 100 out of 100 every show. That was just a comment I made, an observation. So I think they were taken out of context. I think the blocking was unfair. But I accept it was my fault. Maybe I didn't express myself well enough. But yeah, that's my only minor comment about the show, was that I know Kirk is a genius and he has all these great ideas, but just recently there was a few shows where it felt like he didn't have a lot of stories to talk about. That's all. But I'm willing to say I was wrong. That'll mean I'm unblocked. I'm willing to say I was wrong. I do think the stuff about Kirk's Minifans across America might have hit him harder. And I've spoken to people that listened to the last Minifandom. I think Mike Montante was a lot harsher on Minifans across America than I was. So I'm not sure what to make of it. I know Kirk likes to rile me up by blocking me, and yeah, he felt maybe I wasn't loyal enough. And Dave Cullinane said, "Oh, I was taken into the studio, and then I'm, shitting on shitting on them on Minifandom." I don't think that's fair. I think that's very wide of the mark. Minifandom is generally very, very complimentary of the show. Do we have some mild bits of criticism and feedback? Sometimes, yes, of course we do, but it wouldn't be the KMS world if we didn't. But I think in the broader context, it's very mild. This show, Minifandom, all the Minifans are huge fans of KMS, So, yeah, I just have to accept that maybe I didn't express myself well enough. The other option is maybe there's some hint of truth in what I said, and therefore Kirk knows that, so it kind of triggers him. Like, he would know if he's coasting. Like, he's so smart and so intelligent. He would know if he went in with not a lot to talk about. He's not a fool. He wouldn't fool himself. So look, there's two ways of looking at it. I'm not sure. But so yeah, as it stands, I'm blocked I'm blocked. I can't see Kirk's tweets or the Kirk Minahan show tweets. And yeah, Dave Cullinane hasn't blocked me, so that's great. I mean, what a terrific guy. So I blocked. Next thing, Steve Bloody Snell. He's come into the Miniverse and he's just set the place on fire. He has set the place on fire. So I just want to make it clear, and those that listen to the Last Minute Fandom will know this, that I'm not a Snell hater. I like the craziness. I like the fact that the show asked him in there. It just, proves that if I didn't live so far away, I could be in there all the time if they're asking that fuckhead in. But anyway, just generally, I like the madness of Snell. What annoyed me a little bit was Kirk pretending how like Steve was really good on the show, Steve Snell. He was just, oh yeah, all that fucking slap and tickle with him like he was going to give him a job, when the guy, I'm not sure he has the correct skill set to work as Cullinane's number 2. I'm not saying they shouldn't hire him. I'm just saying what annoyed me more was the pretend love for Snell by Kirk, because Kirk's not an idiot. He would have known how bad it was. And it wasn't even a bad show. Like, it's fun when someone goes in there and they're awful. So I'm not like criticizing him going in there. I think I was mischaracterized because basically I was really upset about the blocking. And people know that I'm a passionate guy. I take these things to heart. So I took the blocking really personally, and I had a really emotional 48 hours where I grappled with the situation, because Minifandom's never been better. The guests have never been better. I misread, but it's also really good rotating the hosts every week. So it would just hit me hard, the blocking. So Steve Snell said some things about me. Good. I mean, I've said so many horrible things about other Minifans. I'm not going to. Good on him. I like the madness. His latest Minifandom. His latest KMS Reloaded is him in a forest. I mean, good stuff. I mean, Minifandom's audio only, so it wouldn't be the same. But I love this fucking lunatic. Good on him. Good on him doing a wrap-up show. We need it. I need something to watch. As I said, I just found it weird that Kirk was pretending like he was going to give him a job, that he was so good. I mean, the guy did fine. I think Greg Polar's assessment is pretty good. Like, the longer the show went on, the harder it got for Snell, and you could tell, like, he's a legit nutcase. Like, he's legitimately, as we would say in Australia, a couple of beers short of a six-pack. So, and I'm not even saying don't hire him. I think it would be fantastic if they hired him. Imagine how fun it would be watching Snell drive Cullinane and Kirk mad over the next 6 months. And then Kirk said he would like Snell to just be the last bit of audio ever on the Kirk Minahan show, like an hour and a half of Snell. Well, I can imagine that happening. What's going to happen is he'll walk in one day with a gun, shoot them all, and then record the podcast on his own, and that'll be the last Kirk Minahan show ever. So that could actually happen. So I just don't want to be labeled as a Snell hater. That's all. He can hate me, whatever. I did want to get him on Minifandom. Oh, yeah, he made this like fucking. So I guess I'll go behind the curtain a bit. So Snell said I was like really nice to him after KMS Reloaded. And look, I've said nice things about him on Minifandom and I stand by them. But what he was referring to is I literally just replied to one of his show tweets, good effort. And then he replied with this fucking psycho email like, yeah, thanks, man. And that's the best bit of KMS content ever that's not the main show or whatever insanity came out of his fucking brain. And then like a few minutes later, he deleted that really rude tweet. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on there, but I'm a Minifan content fan. I want Minifan content. I've been very clear about that. So I just don't want this. I don't want Kirk to think Snell is driving me mad. He's not. I just, I don't want Kirk to get murdered. Strong possibility it's going to happen. I mean, come on. Like when they were talking and Snell legit thought Kirk might let him stay in his spare room so he could do the show. It was just madness. Just madness. Like if you've listened to the KMS show, you'll know that's just the last thing Kirk would ever do. He doesn't even want to talk to people before and after the show. He's not going to eat breakfast with Steve Snell. You imagine Kate, Harry, Kirk, Mrs. Minahan, Steve all eating their cereal together. Kirk reading a book. It's actually a funny scene. Anyway, so good on Steve Snell. Who knows what's going to happen with him? But it's a great ride to watch. I mean, as I said, him traipsing through the wilderness in Maine, like his campsite was trashed. I mean, excellent stuff. And maybe he'll get eaten by a bear or something overnight. I don't know, but keep the camera rolling, Mr. Snell, and good on you. So final topic. If you are watching live, you can put questions in the YouTube chat, the link I just tweeted out. But one Stephen Earl Robinson returns this Friday to produce the main show. And I have to say, I'm apprehensive. I have a lot of feelings about this. I'm concerned. I'm worried. Because it's not him coming back for one show that concerns me. Because in very, very small doses, he's okay, Steve Robinson, because he can be quite funny, given the right circumstances, of course. Yeah, so I'm just worried that this is actually the first day of a larger role for Steve Robinson. I'm actually thinking he might come back and be like an executive producer of The Case, for example. Or I just have a feeling maybe he's going to be part of the world again. And that scares me because I hate him. I mean, he's a terrible, terrible person. He was awful to the Minifans. He's snide. He's vindictive. He's sly. He lies. He's mean. He doxes people. He's a cunt. Just the worst person. And in small doses, that's funny to watch. But I don't want him part of the show again. I mean, maybe there's some things will improve. Maybe the network will get back up and running. Maybe we'll actually get some interns. Maybe there'll be some improvements. But it won't be long before Steve's doxing Minifans and doing all sorts of horrible shit. So I'm really apprehensive about what the future will be for one Stephen Earl Robinson on KMS. Yeah, and then apparently he's going to produce the show on Friday, so I hope it's not him like bringing up Trump and all these fucking political topics, because as I said before, Kirk will go in with nothing, so it'll just be like, okay, Steve, what have you got, and then it'll just be fucking talking about, I don't know, American politics, which doesn't do much for me. So yeah, just So I'm recording this Saturday night with Mick. Obviously, I'll put out a tweet asking for listener questions. Hope he turns up this time. As we all know, he didn't turn up last time. And what else is happening? I enjoyed the show to start the week with Mike and Kirk and Cullinane. So we'll get into more of that, I guess, when I'm with Mick. But it was a good show. Look, big week. We've got the porn star on tomorrow's show. So thanks, everybody. This was just a really quick Minifandom update. As I said, just a tough week for Minifans, I think, not just for me, but for all the supporters out there, the blocking. I have got a question here from Uncle Barry. Is Daver as bigger a grifter as Snell after leaving Talking Loud in his rear view? Interesting. No, I do not think Dave is as much of a grifter. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.